Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Loose Buttons, the podcast where we will talk about Traitors UK Season 3. With further ado, let me introduce our guest today. We got the amazing Tom, better known as Success. If you follow me on Instagram, you know who I'm talking about. So, hi, Tom, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. I'm really excited to discuss this season. I've been really enjoying it. I'm loving the drama, loving all the twists and turns. Yeah, gonna get stuck in.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much. And also, we got the super talented, lovely Rock.
It's nice for you to have me on. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's like 15 degrees here. It's beautiful. There's people everywhere. Everybody's really friendly and lovely, and I'm in a very happy place.
Right, so let's get into it. So obviously we are going to discuss the last three episodes. For the people that haven't watched it, be mindful that there will be spoilers. You can catch up on BBC iPlayer and you can watch the episodes. So if you don't want to have any spoilers, this is the part where you literally just stop watching. And you can go back to our Instagram live and you can watch the video later. So the first question is for you, Tom. How do you feel about the fact that Linda was talking to Mina in the kitchen? So if you have to vote for me, I will be okay.
I think it was very bold of her because I think her time was coming. It was very clear. Honestly, I'm surprised she kind of made it this long anyway, with the heat on her from day one. But she was great TV. She was so entertaining. I love the drama. I love the TikToks that have come from all of her little memes. So not mad about it and very happy that Mina kind of got her blessing because Mina's one of my favorites. I'm really enjoying her as a traitor. And I really want her to keep going with it. So
I actually think she probably played the game pretty well in the sense of like she's been guest since day one, right? So people were kind of already assuming she was always going to be up on the chopping block. And I think if she'd have thrown Mina under, it just would have thrown the whole traitors under. And it potentially would have just thrown a whole spanner into the works and no traitors would have won. So I think she probably played the better game by kind of giving herself in.
And obviously, let's talk about the fact, as we said just now, Linda was finally vanished. Do you think that was really good acting when she was vanished, or do you think Linda was always Linda, the icon that we all know?
I think Linda's just always been Linda. Like, I think she's tried to act, and I don't think she's massively great at maybe hiding these parts of herself, like in the show. But I've loved her personality from start to end, and I think she's been a really good character for the show, and she's been really fun to kind of watch, even though she's maybe not been the best at the game.
I think she's the new Diane, but also after seeing some of her acting chops the last few weeks, I really want to see Linda's opera because she mentioned she's an opera singer and she wants to like play a role here. So I'm like, if this is a role you're playing here, I want to see you on stage. I would pay good money for like a Linda opera revival. Like make the tour happen. She would make bank for sure.
Now, obviously, Linda gets vanished, which means that Mina is left on her own as a traitor. She decides to recruit Charlotte. So let's have a look at Charlotte. Um, First of all, do you think that having a Welsh accent has helped her in the game, or do you think it's just been pure luck?
I think it's been pure luck, but also I'm hoping that it gets brought up again at some point. Um, she's so entertaining. She's made me want to like go on the traitors and do an Aussie accent or something the whole time, just because it's great TV. It's so pointless, but it's fun to watch. It's a fun little twist that no one needs, but
Right, let's talk about, do you think Mina made the right choice by recruiting Charlotte? Or who would you have recruited? Who do you think would have been the best choice to recruit?
Again, I think she made a really good choice in terms of like recruiting somebody. I don't know if many of the others would have kind of joined her. Um, but I think she's maybe made a fatal error because she's maybe not been as close to Charlotte as she thought. And obviously, it's starting to come through already that Charlotte's maybe a little bit more cutthroat. And I'm so excited to see how it plays out. I have already got so many theories and like considerations as to what's going to happen and how it's going to play out. It's really exciting.
How would you have played out, Tom, if you would have been recruited halfway through the game? Do you think it would have been easier, or do you think it would have been more difficult to be recruited and started as a traitor?
I think it would have been easier because when they mentioned the recruitment, Charlotte was my first thought as well, because you've already got this kind of like rapport of like being a good faithful and kind of gaining that trust. So if you can just keep things going without like showing any shift in your behavior, you've kind of got it on lock, I think. And you're kind of seeing it with like Mina is really trusting Charlotte. Maybe Charlotte's overthinking a bit, but as a result, she's kind of one step ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlotte would have been my pick. Maybe not the best pick if depending on how things unfold, but yeah, she was the first thing that came to mind for me.
Let's move to the next question. Anna, let me show you Anna just now. I mean, Anna has had the ride of her life. I'm not being funny, but she really has had such a hard time. I think from all the seasons that we have seen, Anna is one of the contestants that generally has been on what they said the struggle bus.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's had like such a challenging journey through the game compared to so many others. Like so many pulls in so many different directions. I think for me, I'd probably be in a similar state where she seemed quite emotional towards the end. She was really starting to kind of feel it, and I think I would be the same. You know, there's a lot of emotions coming through as they're getting closer to each other and they're getting more tight knitted. And yeah, I think she was probably maybe a little bit relieved in the end when she got killed. She seemed a bit more like, do you know what?
I
I
can
played my
rest.
game. I've done well,
Yeah.
and I think you could see that kind of pressure fall off, which was really nice. You know.
Tom, do you think Anna was the right choice for the person to be murdered, or who would you have murdered if it wasn't Anna?
Anna makes a lot of sense to be murdered because when she did start getting emotional, it kind of got a lot of the heat off her, and there wasn't really much chance of her being voted off after that. But at the same time, if she had stuck around and maybe been like recruited instead of Charlotte, it would have been really interesting because she had already come forward and said, you know, they tried to recruit me and I said no. Imagine if they asked her again and she said yes after that. She could have like sailed through the rest of the
Yeah.
competition. But if not her, I probably would have picked Frankie. Like Frankie, for me, I kind of see her going to the end, even though there's been a little bit of heat on her. I think she's a really good personality that people want to keep around. So I can see her being an easy target for a kill.
Let's talk about Alex. I think Alex has been a great contestant, to be honest. He's been quite in the quiet side. He became a bit more opinionated. How do you feel about Alex, Tom?
I really enjoyed Alex. I definitely think if I'd been in there, Alex is one of the people I would have been drawn to. Definitely seemed very trustworthy. Although I can totally see how that kind of fumble at the end made him look very suspicious, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, he was a really good contestant. I really enjoyed watching him, and I'm sad that he's gone.
Rag, what do you think about the fact when he went in the kitchen and says where Linda never voted for the traitors when literally the only traitors that have been vanished is our money?
I think much like myself, you know, I think we've talked a little bit like personally about it before, and like this is the kind of mistake I would make. I'd slip up over something and then sit back and go, "Oh crap!" And then how do you backpedal from that? You know, and it's not even about backpedaling because as soon as you start trying, it's that like you're trying and people can see you're trying, and then it's just you're kind of done.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it. And I also loved Alex. I thought Alex was a phenomenal character, and I loved how intimate like Lisa and Alex's relationship was getting, and I think it was Frankie and Alex's relationship was getting, and it was really, really sad to see how broken they were when Alex left, and it was over such a simple mistake, something so small, you know?
Do you think if it would have been just Alex and Joe, it would have been a different outcome? But the fact that there were four people in that kitchen, that was his downfall. Do you think it was just the numbers that got to him more than what actually he said?
I think Joe would have clocked on, like, because it was Joe that really started pushing that narrative. As soon as that happened, it was Joe that was really pushing that. I think no matter what happened, Joe looks like Joe is now looking for traitors on like more so than they have for quite a bit. Because it's
Mm.
reaching that point now where everyone has to be very vocal about their opinion and everyone has to have an opinion because there's nowhere to hide, you know. And I think no matter what would have happened, I think yeah, if Joe was around, if any of them were around, I think they would have picked up on that and it instantly would have went to the same kind of result and end, you know.
Have you guys noticed that Joe is one of the few people that have not found a single traitor? That all the people that he has voted has been faithfuls. How would you feel that if you were not faithful and you see that Joe is the, as you say, the one that pushes the narrative, but at the end of the day, he has not found a single traitor? How you
I'm
feel about that?
totally I'm totally wondering if he's gonna end up under fire at the last minute. Like even if it's like a moment in the finale where they kind of look
Yeah.
and maybe push him out. But I think time's ticking for Joe, unfortunately.
Let's have a look at Mina. Mina is been an amazing traitor. She's been incredible. I think if I was in their game, I probably would have been the same as everybody else. I would not believe that she's a traitor because she just seems so genuine. And she's not playing it too hard. I think she's just like, da da da. She comes, have breakfast, does the challenges and kind of things like that. But do you think Charlotte is now in a mission to backstab Mina? Because obviously they need to find a traitor. You need to, as Charlotte said, you need to give them blood so you can make it to the final. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think it's probably the other way around?
I mean, I think that that's kind of what's happening. Every time a traitor's been brought in, it's always ended up somebody's getting backstabbed in some way. And I think I think it is. I think Charlotte. There's a couple of moments, and it could be the editing. It could just be, actually what's happening. But Charlotte seems a little bit more like not vindictive, but that kind of like cutthroat than she was before she became a traitor. And I'm like, go girl, get it.
And Tom, how
I
do you feel about the sisterhood? Do you think like it was a great idea to recruit Charlotte, or if you would have recruited, for instance, like Jake, do you think probably that would have helped Mina more or not being backstabbed, or how do you feel about that?
I think the sisterhood's a good idea because I wouldn't trust any of the guys to join me as a traitor now. And also, this is the thing: it's like Mina hasn't really intentionally been like super backstabby. Like even with Linda, she kind of got her blessing, and like she clearly trusts Charlotte a lot, you know.
Mhm.
So I think Charlotte is like a bit paranoid, trying to think a step ahead, and I'm kind of worried for her in the sense that if she throws Mina under the bus, that could also make people suspicious of Charlotte. So I'm hoping that if the heat dies off Mina a little bit, because Mina hasn't really been looked at, and that's kind of the main reason people are looking at her. So if that heat drops off, I'm hoping that Charlotte just kind of lets that
Yeah.
go.
So
Um,
do you think Charlotte is the one that is going to break the curse that all recruited traitors get eliminated and she's going to make it?
that's my theory at the moment. I think next week I'm kind of seeing the heat going off Mina to someone else. Maybe like I don't know. I don't know, but I think people are only really looking at Mina because they need to look at someone.
Yeah.
So I think Charlotte will kind of give up on that as soon as that dies down, or that's what I'm hoping. I want to see them. I want to see them go to the end together.
Yeah, it will be amazing. It will be amazing to have two traitors because nobody will
Hmm.
expect it.
Especially those two.
Yeah. Now let's move to our lovely Leon, who was vanished on the latest episode. So let me ask Rock, do you think Leon got banished because of Leanne?
I don't necessarily think it was because of Leanne. I genuinely believe it was just because they had that experience with the death match and then sitting in the coffin and having to reflect. I mean, they were in there for at least 40 minutes because that was like the length of the mission, right?
Mhm.
And I know I'm a mad overthinker, especially when there's no other stimulus. So chances are like he probably just sat there and thought hunters about everything. And I agreed with kind of everything he was saying beyond that of like, I am now so like unsure of everybody. I think I would be in that same place. And I think Leon would have been a fantastic recruitment for the traitors at the moment because
Mm.
although he's kind of on that is he not, and I think he may have got sent home, but I think if it had been a traitor and he'd been recruited maybe a little bit earlier, I think he maybe would have been a bit cutthroat. I think he maybe would have went for it, because his motivations for his family are like wonderful. They're really really they connect with my heart, that community feel and for other people. And I think I think he really would have went for it. But yeah, I think it was more the
And
challenge and the change in his mind frame.
yeah, it was a shame to see him go. Do you think this season we have seen more of that kind of close relationships and like genuine connections, or do you think it's all just been the game plan that everybody's been playing?
I think we've seen a lot more of these close relationships because we're kind of seeing as it goes on, people getting more and more suspicious of the people closest to them, and then getting really emotional about it. And it must be really good for the traitors because now everyone's turning on their friends and getting really suspicious of the people they hang out with the most.
Um,
So people who kind of float about a bit more are kind of at this point probably more able to slip under the radar.
Now this is when it gets interesting. We go the final eight. They literally just had banished Leon, which is quite tough. It was quite an emotional round table, to be honest. And Claudia offers them, the last remaining 8 contestants, to have a private dinner. How do you think that went?
It was really emotional. It was really nice to learn a bit more about all of them, and I'm sure them learning more about each other got them all quite emotional. I think at this point it's probably a lot harder to like send people home and vote people,
Yeah.
which we did kind of see. Mina kind of mentioned when they were deciding who to murder that night that it was a lot harder. And they all know each other's motivations for wanting the prize money now as well. So imagine picking someone to go knowing that they're trying to win that money to like help their family or something, you know?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Rock, how would you feel if somebody said to you, the reason I'm doing this game is because I want to buy a house for my family, in comparison to somebody that wants to go on holiday and have a honeymoon? Who do you think is more deserving, and who do you think will be telling the truth?
I mean, it's a hard one because like the family thing connects with me a lot. I'm very kind of community led as a person in general myself, but also at the same time I'm very nomadic, I'm very individual, and I'm very kind of independent. And I love my traveling and the experiences that it gives me. Like, you know, I'm in Greece at the moment, I'm in Athens because I want to soul search and find myself. So I don't think
Mhm.
either would be more deserving, but I think the family thing would tug on my heartstrings probably a little bit more. Um, but everybody has their own motivations for the money, and I think that it felt like they were all telling the truth. We won't really know. My motivations would probably be holidays, and I don't know how people would take that.
And obviously, after that, we saw the part where Charlotte and Mina go to the tower, and obviously, they need to now make this very difficult decision to figure out who they're going to murder. So the options that we had was Leanne, Joe, and Jake. If you were the traitor, who would you murder and why?
Oh, Jake, I think at this point, I think Jake is the least suspicious of the three, as far as who the faithfuls are likely to vote for. I think Leanne, because people brought up that kind of click, right, earlier in the season, and Leanne's now the only one left, so people might be looking at Leanne next. But yeah, I just think Jake has probably proven himself the most as a faithful, so I think would be the sensible option to kill off.
And how about you, Rock? Who would you murder and why?
I think Jake's been loved, and that's why it's maybe a bit of a challenge. And obviously he's got the shield. And one of my considerations is are they gonna try and go for Jake, and it's gonna flag up? But I think I would probably go for Joe. I think Joe's outlived the game. Again, I think Leanne probably needs to stay there a little bit longer. She's kind of on both sides of the scale quite good because she's a little bit, we can drop things on her, but also she's actually quite interesting to like plant seeds with and like let that kind of go. So yeah, I think Joe would probably have been my selection on this one.
Do you think in the latest episode when they have to lift all the heads and all the bodies to put them out in the tower in the podium, sorry, do you think people are gonna catch on that and thinking, oh, for an nail technician, she was carrying that whole head on and all that? Do you think that's gonna be probably an issue for Leanne moving
I
forward?
feel it probably would have already flagged up in that round table. I think people would have instantly been like, "Oh, girl, there's something going on here. Why is she carrying all this stuff?" But nobody said a thing,
Yeah.
and I find that really bizarre because I would have questioned that. I'd have been like, "Girl."
So I got the last couple of questions. The first one is for both of you. If you wanted to play the game, what would you like to be? A faithful or a traitor? Let's start with Rock. Rock, what would you like to be and why? Why would you like to be a faithful or a traitor?
Oh, I think I would have. I think I would prefer to be a faithful in the like. I would feel more comfortable within myself. I would be able to play the game a bit better, be able to think a bit more while I'm doing it. Um, but I think I would probably play a pretty good traitor because people tend to like me. People tend to talk to me. I was thinking about this last night, and I think there's a lot of personality traits that would really lead me to being a good traitor. But I
Yeah.
think I would feel more comfortable and find it easier to be a faithful. You know, I don't really
Yeah.
like to lie, or I struggle with a little bit with lying. You know, and I like I say, I trip over myself all the time.
How about you, Tom?
I would want to be recruited like halfway through. That would be my ideal. I think I could lie really well. I think I would be a good traitor, but I definitely think again it's kind of that anxiety going the whole way through, like keeping that secret. I think being like a slow burn, like starting off quite chill and then like gradually getting to know people more, it would be the perfect way to just kind of switch to a traitor and then
Mm.
have people kind of under your thumb at that point and just start playing a bit more tactical towards the end when there's less people. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. And do you think
Very
you guys
Charlotte-esque.
do you guys think
Yeah,
that it's more stressful to be a faithful or more stressful to be a traitor? What do you find more stressful? Because obviously
oh,
being a faithful, you're not just gonna be vanished, but you can also be murdered. And we asked this to all our guests, and we just want to know from you guys, what do you think will be more stressful?
you know, I actually think being a faithful would be more stressful because once you get to the end, especially this season when they've said like you're not gonna know when you vote people
Yeah.
out in the finale which they are, that's gonna like set the fear in me, especially because at least if you're a traitor, you kind of know if there's another traitor with you or not, and you kind of have that like fail safe of like throwing someone under the bus. If you're
Mhm.
a faithful, you just have to like hope for the best every week. And then pray that you're getting it right, and you're kind of in the dark all the way through.
Yeah. Will it be the same for you, Rock? Do you think being a faithful is more stressful?
I think it flips. I think as you start, being a faithful is a lot less stressful, and this is why I think, like Tom, I would probably like to be recruited halfway through because as you get towards the end, I think it's easier to play a traitor because it seems like an easier game. It might not be, but like there is, like
Yeah.
you say, there's less fear, less threat, um, and less concern as the numbers start to dwindle. When there's so many, it's such a big stress because you're watching yourself around everybody. But when there's only like 8 of you and there's 2 of you are traitors, it's only like 6 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. My last question to you guys: who do you think is gonna win this season of the Traitors UK? Do you think it's gonna be a faithful or a traitor, and why?
I think it's going to be a traitor because I think one of them is going to go through. I don't know about both, but I just can't see people clocking both of them. Like both of them are kind of wild cards in the traitor kind of department. My only scenario where I can see them losing is if Charlotte does throw Mina under the bus. I can see that coming back to bite her, and because people would wonder why she kind of suddenly turned. But I think if she kind of is able to mellow out and
Mm.
and gain some trust there, I can see those two taking it for sure.
Do you, before I go to Rock, do you think the new twist of them not finding out who is a traitor, who is a faithful at the end of the game, do you think that goes in a way beneficial for the traitors?
I think so. I think so for sure. Like obviously at the end people are going to be paranoid, and I think someone's likely to be voted out at the finale, but they're also not want to. They're not going to want to take it too far and like
Mm.
get everyone who makes it out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think if they play it smart, it could work in their favor.
Yeah. And what about you, Rock? Who do you think is gonna win the Traitors UK season 3?
Very early doors, I was very for the faithful. I think the faithful were kind of getting all the points and they were getting all the people, and then as it's gone on, it's also flipped, and I think the traitors very could win it, especially Charlotte. I think even if she throws Mina under the bus, she's already started planting seeds. She's already started laying it on very lightly, and Mina's already had a little bit of suspicion because she's not had any suspicion. I think very easily because Charlotte is assumed as a faithful, and several people in these past 3 episodes have said Charlotte's a faithful. Charlotte's a faithful. I genuinely believe that Charlotte could throw Mina under the bus like an episode or 2 further and then make it through to the final on her own. But there is going to be that shred of doubt in everybody's head right up until the end because there's no way of telling that they're not going to say. And even from like the early doors when Wilf and stuff completely threw us all. I think
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. This has been so exciting. It's so nice to see you both. Where can people find you? So let's start with Tom. What are you up to these days? What are you doing? What's coming up?
So you can find me on all socials. Mostly use Instagram and Blue Sky. At Success World, it's SXSZ because I'm a little edgy and I need to show up on the Google searches. At the moment, I'm kind of taking a back seat. I'm working on some new performance materials, some new costumes. Just taking it a bit slower this year, enjoying the process. But I'm going to be coming back with a bang within the next few months. So follow me, scroll through the stuff I've already posted because it's really brilliant and I'm very talented and amazing.
Amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And how about you, Rock?
You can find me on, I would say most socials. If you look for Pupruck or at Pupruck is usually it, but there is a few variations. I've also got at Mixed Fruit Jams on Instagram or at Mixed Fruit Jam for Blue Sky. which is my open mic night. And you'll find me just talking about Glasgow, probably playing my guitar somewhere, having some fun or saying some poetry.
Amazing. No, thank you so much, guys. And we're so happy to have you. I hope you keep on enjoying the Traitors UK season 3. As you know, we only got 3 episodes left. So you might find yourself that there will be lots of more twists and turns. And let's see who's going to be the winner of the Traitors UK season 3. It's very excited. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we hope to see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.